everybody. I just want to thank you all for coming this morning. Our speaker today is a lifelong learner that loves to learn and loves to share. He's from Philadelphia and has been in the graphic communications industry since 1991. He loves the computer side of this industry. Listening to this gentleman this morning, I could tell that this is his passion, and he's very excited to share his experiences with us today. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Peter Muir.
Thank you. In public speaking class, they tell you don't stand in front of the projector. And one of the things is when it's right here, I'm going to stand in front of it. So I'm going to kind of light up and up. But when you're in public speaking class and you're someplace else, try and get out of the light if you can. So now that I've said that part, I'm going to share with you a presentation that I put together. But it's not just a presentation, like we're going to sit here and do some slides. I want to try and make it interactive, a chance for you guys to kind of talk, share, and hear some ideas from one another and not just from me. One thing I will say, if there's anything up on the screen, meaning a slide or any of the material that's in there that you like, you can get a copy of this presentation. If you want it, write this email down right now. This is Mr. Brennan's email. If you want it, you can put it in your phone. If you want a copy of these notes as a PDF, you can have it. I can bring it up at the end if you want. But just want to make sure. If it's on the slide, don't worry about trying to write it down. I know you got some classes, you're like, I got to write it all down. You don't have to. You can have a copy of this. But if what I share makes you think about something, and it's something important to you, write that down. That's probably some of the most important stuff you can capture. Like capture that and bring that with you. I usually have a prop that I sometimes bring with me, a chainsaw. I did not bring it with me. It's not easy to get it on a plane these days. I just don't like you walking on with a chainsaw. But what I want to do is I just share a little bit about myself. And one of the things about me, I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. And the fact that I'm here with you is a good example of if you're a lifelong learner, you get to hang out with folks like you, which is pretty cool in my mind. I've been to all 50 states. I've been to 27 different countries. And the people that I get to work with have something unique. They all want to learn something new too. So it's an incredible opportunity when you think lifelong learner. I help businesses and individuals to get better. Some people, whether it's to get a job, keep a job, run a new business, start a new business, that's part educator, motivator, entrepreneur, and from that, it helps me learn about different kinds of businesses. B2B, business to consumer, those are the two biggest, B2C and B2B. But also, I work with nonprofits too. Nonprofits are trying to make a difference in the world. And I also work with associations to members. And I will say this, as an entrepreneur, I love to take risks, but I've also screwed up some things in my life. I know, you're like, well, at least, is that why you're here? No, I've learned things, but what's really cool, you're going to take risks and you're going to break things. It's what you do is when you fix them, and when you learn from it, you can do a whole lot of things. And that's what I want to share with you today, is some ideas about this thing called the 763 opportunity, where you can apply a process to see the world different and to see the opportunities that's before you differently as well. This is a workshop, so this is a workshop. What I'd like you guys to do, I'm going to tell you the end of my presentation right now. At the end of this, I'm going to ask you, at the end, based on what I shared with you, what are 3 things you could start doing that you're not doing now? I'm going to ask you at the end, so I'm just telling you what I'm going to say at the end now. Based on what I shared with you today, what are 3 things you could start doing? What are 2 things you could stop doing? And what's 1 thing you could celebrate? Everybody likes a celebration. You should celebrate every now and then. What's 1 thing you could celebrate? Based on what you heard here today, what's 1 thing that you could celebrate? So I'd like to ask you that at the end of today. Where I plan on going today, I've got 4 things that I want to share with you. The first one is, I want to review a relationship between people who communicate and people on the other side, the listener. Right now, you guys are an example of you're the listener, I'm the communicator. I want to talk a little bit about that relationship. I also want to talk about this value of thinking about this thing called business development, helping people to do better. By the way, it doesn't just apply to business, it applies to your life. And that's a big piece of this. Third thing, I've got a process. You could net my whole presentation out to 3 PowerPoint slides, and I'll make sure that I tell you when that is. So if there's nothing else you remember but those 3 slides, then we're good. And the last thing, I want to hear from you guys and make it a little interactive and talk about what's been working for you in your life to make a difference for others. These are the 4 places that I'd like to go. And just to get started on this, years ago, I got a degree in communication. And when you were getting a degree in communication, basically you learned somebody needs to send a message and somebody needs to receive the message. There you go, 4 years of degree right there, sender, receiver. Woohoo! What we didn't talk much about was this thing in the middle. In the middle, there's a message. We definitely didn't talk about this thing called the channel in which the message got there. This is back in the early part of the 90s. We just never talked about the channel in the middle. But what we did talk about in senior year was this thing called the feedback loop. Like, ooh, feedback loop. Watch this. Can you guys all raise your right hand for me? Thank you very much. You've just shown me a feedback loop. I asked you to do something and you did it. Now imagine if I asked you guys to raise your right hand and nobody raised their hand at all. How many times are people communicating and they ask for feedback and get nothing? Or they never ask for feedback and they get nothing? Is that effective communications? And I told you back then, we never talked about the channel. We never talked about the medium, the way that the message got to where it's going. I want to show you something about this in a minute, but I do want to mention this. I'm going to change this word receiver to something different. I'm going to call it listener. Today, there are people out there who could be a listener to your message. And when I say yours, it could be one that you're sending. It could be on Instagram. It could be you face-to-face with someone. But you also could be employed by a company who's trying to get a message out to someone. It might be more proactive healthcare. No kidding. Do you know hospitals and hospitals will be paid in the future by people taking better care of themselves? No kidding. Things right now, legislation are changing right now based on that. How are people going to learn how to take better care of themselves? They need to be communicating to. So I'm going to just kind of put a little spin on this listener aspect. And here's what I'm going to, the spin that I'm going to put on it. What if there was no listener? What if there was no listener at the back end of that? You tell me. What happens when people communicate and there's no listener? What's going on? Just talking to yourself. Yeah. How many businesses do that every day? They just talk to themselves. By the way, businesses need these things called customers. You need them. And the ones you have, you need to keep them. And you also need new ones. But if you're just talking to yourself, it just doesn't do much. Do you guys know what the average attention span in time? What was the average attention span in the year 2000? 17 years ago. Some of you were born then?
Yeah.
Okay, just check it. So let's talk about the people who were born. There were only one. How long could their attention span be if it was that? But what was the average attention span in 2000? Holler it out. What do you think?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Anybody else?
Seconds.
How much?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. How much?
Yeah, I was going for like 30
One more.
30 seconds, like 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
90 seconds.
90 seconds. You ready for this? 2000. 12 seconds. 2000. Hold on. This was 2000. Let's go jump on to 2015. What do you think? Is it going up or down? Listen to you guys. All of a sudden you're waking up, so you must be listening. Your attention span is shorter, but guess what? It's 8 seconds. By the way, when you say 8 seconds, in those 8 seconds, you are trying really hard. I know, and I appreciate what you guys do. You're trying really hard to listen to me. But there's other things competing for my time. What's competing for my time? What's taking your attention away? Cell phones. What else?
Emails.
Emails. What else?
Lunch.
Lunch. Thank you. I was looking for that. Lunch. How much sleep I got last night. I mean, there's all this stuff comes into play. And yet, people are trying to communicate to you. And sometimes you're the communicator trying to communicate to everybody else. Just think about that. I'm dealing with situations where people have shorter attention span. And I told you back in the 90s when I was taking this, there was only 4 channels that people used every day to communicate. Here they were. TV, print, radio, and face-to-face. Those are the 4 ways that messages got out to people. This isn't 2017, this was back then. Let me add some things that happened. Ooh, big phone. Okay, fine. We had phones back then. I'll throw that one in. But it had cords physically on them. Yeah, cords. They like were attached. When Kelly, the really cute girl that I liked, when she called, I had to actually take the phone on a really long cord, like down the hallway, outside the kitchen, around the corner, because I didn't want my mom and dad to hear. You know, cords. It was crazy. It's not like that today, but we added additional channels. Websites came out. Yeah, websites. And then added new things. Email. Woohoo. Yeah, I was actually around when email got started. Like, I was in college when email got started. But here's the thing, we've added so many more things since then. E-newsletters, which are basically emails with some kind of formatting to them. There are blogs, people who just like to talk about stuff online, sometimes with a photo, sometimes in written words. Instant messaging. Here's the thing. It's not the instant messaging you know on your phones. It was an actual user interface on something called America Online, AOL. And you're like, see, you chuckle, but it's like that was a hot thing at one point. It was a way that people communicated. Nowadays, it's SMS text. And it's not even SMS text. It's newer apps that are running on there. But we also have this thing that's probably a new one for many of you in this room, Pearl, personalized URLs. Think about something that you buy on a regular basis. Holler it out. Something you buy on a regular basis. Food, thank you. From a particular company. Give me a particular company. So Cheetos. Did I get that right? Cheetos? So Cheetos, if they had you, if you chose to interact with them, you registered with them, they got your email address and they know a little bit about you, they could send you an email with a personalized URL. You go to that URL and know exactly what kind of Cheetos you like. In fact, they got a coupon on there for you. So it's a way to drive more specific communications. But we added more stuff to communicate. We got podcasts, whether it's audio only or audio and video. YouTube, things like that, that counts in there for podcasts. We added other ones, viral videos, not just videos, but viral videos, ones that people talk. Did you guys see the cat riding the Roomba? Oh, so cool. It's a video of a cat riding a Roomba. Somebody in this room will go Google cat on Roomba. You know that little robot thing that vacuums the room? You should see the cat sitting on top. It's kind of cool. Yeah. So, no, all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Somebody's going to go Google that. But viral videos. We added more things. There's electronic statements. When you guys get your phone bill these days, a few of you get it on paper. Many of you, it's electronic, whether it's a website or it's an email that comes to you. We've added more channels. Widget. What's a widget? It's a piece of software you load on a computer. Very rarely do you have that anymore. I mean, you might have some software, maybe, but look at Google and cloud-based delivery of software. It's not the same anymore. I remember, you won't know this, but Domino's actually had a widget. No kidding, you bought a Domino's pizza and they had a DVD that had some software on it, and it was the pizza guy. You actually look, I mean, would you want to load strange software on your computer? No, but they did that back then. And you load it on, and the pizza guy was basically this animation that every now and then, around lunch and dinner time, would literally kind of pop his head out of the corner of your screen, not off the, it was on the screen, but it came out and said, I smell pizza. And if you clicked on his head, it would actually bring you to Domino's Pizza's website. But what was interesting about that, it already knew, you've already taken the time to enter your name, your address, and that you like the Philly cheesesteak pizza from Philly. So the Philly cheesesteak pizza. And what you would do is you click that button, and it would come to your house. You didn't have to pick anything, do anything. I mean, you did originally, but if you keep ordering the usual, and it's already there, and by the way, your credit card information, your ATM number's in there, and it's all done. And when that person comes to the door, all they do is hand you your stuff and they walk away. Now that was a widget. You guys are like, oh, I'm trying to follow along. Fine. What if I said the word mobile app? That's what today's mobile app is, just that, only it's on a phone. We all get that now. I mean, would you load strange software on your computer? Absolutely not. Yet we do it all the time on our phones. Oh, the data that they get from us. Oh. Search. I count that as a channel. Search. There is, when you guys search on Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatever search engine you use, there's two kinds of search data that you get. Organic search data, which there's some, getting to the top of that, but there's also paid search that's on the top and on the sides. That counts as a channel because it's a way to communicate with people. I'll add one more up there, two more. Social networks. And it doesn't matter the channel. There's so many different ways. It could be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever that channel. Social networks is one of them. Mobile experiences now. Well, that's similar to a mobile app, only people are trying to immerse yourself in experiences like virtual things, where you're going around, you're doing, what's the thing? Pokemon. It's a mobile experience, utilizing geolocation and the phone. I'm going to stop and take a breath. Look at all those channels up there. And here's what's wild. Do you know many of you have multiple versions of that channel? Some of you have more than one email address. Some of you have more than one phone. Some of you have multiple social networks that you monitor. Just think, there's two things to take away from this. Number one, look at all the channels. There's a lot of channels to communicate today. The other thing I want you to see, I repeatedly on purpose put the word message up there. There are so many messages flying around vying for your attention every day. I got to tell you, you guys are pretty amazing that you came out here today. There's so many messages walking around this campus. You got emails, you got posters, you got all these different things you could have gone to. Yeah, you get credit for this. But you chose to come to this. That means in all the messages flying around, you chose to come here. Think about that. There are people vying for other people's attention every day. And it's a challenge to try and figure that out. My favorite channel is one I mentioned earlier. It's face-to-face. It's my favorite channel. But what I've just shared with you is a personal preference. Not everybody has the same favorite channel. And the better we understand that, we can acknowledge that not everybody wants to communicate the same way. What if we took the time to figure out how people want to communicate? Because I can tell you right now, think about email. Here's a look at somebody's phone. And I want to call your attention to there's a lot of data that's on here, like, oh, what's that app? I don't know what that one is. I'm going to call your attention to this right here. I'll make it a little bit bigger there. How's that? Somewhere in that 18,434, some company's trying to get you to pay a bill. The registrar is trying to get you to please fill out a form that you need. It's in that 18,434. A friend of yours from high school was trying to reach out to you. All right, maybe they're not using email, maybe they're using Facebook or something else. But my point is, think about if we just try to go through all those messages, do we pay attention? Now, we don't often pay attention. We don't know. Well, let me ask a question to you guys. Why are you worth my time? By the way, I'm not asking you that question. I want you guys all to say that out loud on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Why are you worth my time?
Because that's exactly what's happening every day. People are vying for your attention, and you're asking yourself whether you know it or not, why are you worth my time? Why? Because of what you do, because of who you do it for, why you do it, because of the channel that you use. Why are you worth my time? And I'll have a follow-up question. Why should I listen to you? Why should I click on that email, go to that website, load that app, go to that thing? Why? Because you guys are busy people. You got things to do, places to be. Your parents do, other people do, like all the people in your world. But yet, every company, every business, everyone that's trying to communicate is vying for your time. And if we don't get better at figuring out why some people want to spend your time, by the way, answering that question could get you a job. It could keep your job. It could get you a raise. Even better, maybe you guys want to start your own company based on that question. Why are you worth my time? I'll give you guys a quick thing I shared with the group I was hanging out with this morning. If I said the word Marriott, you all know what a Marriott is? It's a hotel. Sure. Been in business for over 40 years. Marriott Hotel. They have a market cap, a value between $25 and $30 billion. Meanwhile, there's 2 guys in California that wanted to help people stay locally at a cheap rate. And they basically sold space on their couch and on the floor nearby. This is 9 years ago. And they used a website to do it. You might have heard of it. It's called Airbnb. They're only 9 years old. Their market cap is above $30 billion. Only 9 years old. When you start to think about it, Marriott's been in the business for over 40 years. How is a company that's only 9 years old doing better if you're just looking at the scoreboard of money? You know what it comes down to? You got a house, you need a place to stay, use the web as a way to find each other. There's trust involved there. To be on there, you have to do these things. To be on there to rent, you have to do these things. Uber's the same way. So many apps are out there that do the same thing. It keeps coming back to this, why are you worth my time, though? People are vying for our attention. There's businesses that could be made from this. You could be working there. You could create that business. I'm a big fan of entrepreneurial thinking to do that. So today, what do you know about the people trying to communicate with you? I'm going to ask you guys to put yourselves in the position of the people who could hire you, or for those who are in the business, for the people who you do business with, whatever the business is. Kind of that question, why are you worth their time? What ideas could you come up with? What ideas could you come up with to get people to want to pay attention to you, to click on that, to visit, to go, to buy? What are some of the ways you could come up with the ideas? I want to help answer the question for you. Why are you worth someone else's time? That's my goal here today, is to help you from a marketing perspective, a marketing brand you, meaning you, help you. When you go to Connect, because you finish and you graduate here and you're asking people, why should you hire me? It's not one of those, well, I want to see if I can help you in your business. I want to help you be very specific about what you can do to help the business. I'm going to give you a formula to do that. And those ideas could get you a job. It could allow you to save more. I have a dollar sign up there, but it could also just be satisfaction. It could be personal fulfillment. It doesn't have to be the money aspect only. That's what I want to do. when it comes to communicating, talking to people, what often happens is people use what exists. Do you know there's some people in Marriott going, what's going on? We've been doing the same thing all the time, and why is this other company taking all our business away from us? They keep doing the same thing. What exists? They're not trying something different. There's cab companies that are really upset at Uber. Really upset at Uber. Why? Because they're trying something different. But yet, how many businesses, how many people keep doing the same thing? What exists? What if you guys were wired? What if you thought and saw the world a little differently and came up with ideas that people haven't thought of yet? I think that's a possibility. If you could come up with reasons why someone might want to tune in, buy, visit, hire you, that's an opportunity for you as someone working somewhere or starting your own business to do that. And I want to explore that. To do that, you've got to get curious. By the way, I only know a few of you only for a few hours. Anything I say here today, I am not telling anyone to do anything. I'll say that one more time. I don't know you that well. How dare I come to you and tell you guys what to do? But I invite you to think differently about the way you see the world. That much I am doing. I want you to think differently, but I'm not telling you you have to do this. No way. I'm not that guy. I don't know you well enough. I shouldn't recommend that. But the more curious you get about things, there are more opportunities for you in your life. And the kind of things I love to get serious about, I love the world of business. It doesn't, when you say the world of business, what do you really mean? It depends on a particular industry. You like Cheetos, man. You know what's really wild about Cheetos? The people who make it is one thing, the fact that they sell it. You know, some company makes the bag to do that. Somebody else is the shipping company in between. There's so many businesses that are involved in that Cheetos bag. But if I ask you guys to think about something you're passionate about, something you really love to do or think about or watch or something, what are you guys passionate about? What'd you say? Music, food, what else? What are you passionate about? Drawing, photography, what else? By the way, photography, I went to RIT, it's another one of those universities that's out there. I had a professor back then, this is late 90s, that said, by the way, RIT was really known for photography, Rochester Institute, they were really known for photography. And I had a professor that said, yeah, this digital photography thing, it's not going to take off. Think about it. You guys have full-blown, like, video cameras built into this little tiny thing sitting right there. Oh yeah, this digital photography thing took off. There are people who believe that the things that exist today are all that there ever will be, and that's not a way to think. Think about what exists. Think about what you're passionate about. So photography, what else? What are you guys passionate about? What do you love? Dance. What else? Shoes. Do you know there is an entire world of shoes on eBay? There's a whole market, you ready for this? For used shoes. Used shoes. You're like, hey man, I don't want to wear used shoes. You might not want to, but there's a company that's making multi-million dollars by one guy, and all he does, he goes around, he's actually got multiple people working for him now. They go around to yard sales, and they buy old shoes, they clean the shoes, they put them up online, and they sell them. Some of the hottest old shoes, please don't start doing this, is bowling shoes. It's like one of the hottest things is bowling shoes, sold online. But no kidding, used shoes. So I'm not pushing you to use shoes. You like shoes, maybe new ones, I won't get into that. But these are from Australia, those are kind of cool too, but different things for different people. Anyway, okay, what else are you guys passionate about? What's that? Drawing. All the things that you've shared with me all has to do with the world of business. There's a business out there doing that. But I want to get more specific. If you consider the world of business, but get specific about your passion, there's an industry out there that does what you want to do. You can be passionate about drawing, and you can be the artist, but here's what's wild. There's somebody who makes the pencil, somebody who makes the paper, there's somebody who makes the software, somebody who makes the printer. If you're passionate about dance, somebody makes the shoes, somebody makes the music, somebody makes the, you can see where I'm going. You start to describe an industry. There's things going on in that industry. Drill down even further. There are companies, organizations, for-profit, non-profit that are out there. Keep going, keep drilling down. There's departments. There's positions that you could be in. And ultimately, there's individuals that are there. But here's the thing. What I want to share with you right now is I want you to get curious about the businesses that you could be helping grow and be successful. But someday, you could be the person in the position trying to figure out, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do to communicate more effectively when people don't listen, when they don't tune in? So I don't mean to kind of pull the rug out from under you, but half the time I want you to think you're the student learning about potentially getting a job, but the other half, what if you're the person in that position, in that department, in that company, in that industry, and you know what you're struggling with? How do I keep my job? How do I get better at what I'm doing? Because I can tell you right now, I'm in the world of professional development and training. That's what I do all the time. And there are people often struggling with, what should I do next? Or how come I keep doing the same thing and it's not working for me? How come that young person just took the job from me? It could be because they're getting paid less, or it could be because they had new ideas, because they were trying something different, because they were someone who came in with something. That's what I want to share with you guys. So when you get curious, it might change the way you see the world when you think about an industry or when you think about a position. Maybe it changed what you listen for. I'm trying to see what are some of the clues about what people talk about. I only got a chance to talk to a few of you, but I asked, what are you passionate about? What do you do? What are you studying here? What do you want to do with that? Because by hearing that, I might change the way I see this room and these people that are here. It might change what I say. It might change what I do. Look at me working off used shoes. I worked with that. We didn't practice that. But based on what you hear, you might interact differently based on that. So they tell you in Presentation Making 101, they tell you don't put more than X number of words on a slide because nobody's going to read it. So I'm about to put a whole bunch of words on a slide. I told you can get a copy of the slides. I'll put that on later. But here's the thing. When I get a chance to meet an industry, I'm trying to understand, I'm going to tell you guys, an industry I recently was getting into was erosion control. What the heck is erosion control? When it rains, all the water hits the ground and mud flows where it's not supposed to. It actually goes into your rivers. There's an industry that doesn't want that to happen and make all sorts of products to keep that from happening. These things that kind of keep mud from flowing off of construction sites and buildings. I know that might not sound really sexy, but here's what's wild. It's about a $47 billion industry, and it's growing at about 12% or 13%. Double digits is a good thing. So I'm trying to learn about that industry so I can get more into it. What I did was I got curious. I tried to absorb that industry. I know they tell you don't put a lot of questions. All the questions, I wanted to find out as an industry, what do they do? What do they read? What are their worries as an industry? Or real specifically, the guy that's in marketing for this particular product in erosion control, what's he losing sleep about? He's losing sleep if they don't sell enough of this product, he's not going to have a job. Or there's someone else, we have this brand new product that's better than theirs, and we're trying to meet new companies, new customers, and we're having a hard time. So asking these questions, doing some research. Some of these you can research on the web. Sometimes you pick up the phone and call. Sometimes you can just go meet somebody. You can find out the answers to some of these questions. But it helps you become more knowledgeable about a particular industry, or what do they do, or how do they work. But here's the thing. That's a whole lot of questions. I want to make it simpler for you. There are people, there's a potential, some ways for people to connect. I do a lot of sales training. And I want to share with you, there's 3 approaches to sales I want to share with you. And you tell me at the end, which one do you think sells the most money, or makes the most money? You ready? Here's the first one. First one is a traditional approach. Hey, do you want to buy what I'm selling? Say no. No. Do you want to buy what I'm selling? Say no. No. Do you want to buy what I'm selling? Say no. Do you want to buy what I'm saying? Say yes. Now, I told him to say yes, but these other guys are like, no, 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 I don't want to buy. Do you know there are people who that's all they do all day long? They call you, they visit you, they try and email you, they send you things in the mail, and they ask, do you want to buy what I'm selling? And you either really need it right then and there, or you don't, and you move on. Most of it is a no. You actually get measured by how many calls did you make today? How many emails did you send? Like, that's a traditional way. There are some companies that go further. They call this an added value approach to sales. You ready? We added a whole bunch of products and services. Now do you want to buy from me? That's all they did was, we added more stuff. Do you want to buy from me? We were walking and talking this morning. I'm an Apple phone guy now, but you were talking about Android and what that could be for me. And it's just interesting when you explore that, because Android might have other things that Apple doesn't. Apple might have things, but there are companies that believe if we just add stuff, people want to buy from us. Or if we add stuff, people will stay with us. Is that a compelling enough reason? You guys decide. But there's a third one. There's a third one I want to share with you. This is a potentially different approach. It's called a customer-focused business development approach. It's too long. I apologize. It's a long name. But what if I did this? I've looked at who you are and what you do, and I have some ideas and ways that could help you. Who do you think, as a salesperson, makes the most amount of money? First, second, or third?
Third.
Third. Are you saying that because it's just number 3, and if I change the order and you got... No, I'm just... Number 3 requires people to actually do some work. The first method is make a lot of calls. The third method is I got to go out and understand something about you, about what you need, about what you want, about what you do. I mean, I have to do some work. Some people are like, that's work. I'd rather just make a bunch of phone calls. I don't know about you, but I'd rather make less phone calls, do a little more research, and sell more stuff. And when I keep using this word sell, how about this? You guys could keep making phone calls saying, do you want to hire me? 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 Or you could say, I've looked at who you are and what you guys do. I got a couple ideas that I don't think you're doing yet that I could help bring to your business. I might be wrong, by the way, but can I at least share those ideas with you? If you were a hiring manager, who's more interesting? The 3 people that called you that day saying, do you want to hire me? Or at least that last one. By the way, the hiring manager might be a little weirded out by you using that last method. You know, the one about, I've done some research, but guess what? Somebody in marketing, somebody in sales, or somebody who owns that company might say, what can you show me that we're not doing yet? Think about that. How do you develop ideas worth sharing to help your customer and prospect? I told you guys I do a lot of sales training. So you have customers, existing customers, and you got prospects, people who could do business with you, people who could do business with you. But I put a third one up there, employer. Employer. How do you come up with ideas that gets people's attention, that gets them to want to connect with you? I want to give you a method. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a method to help you do that. That's what I'd like to do right now. Here you go. I told you there's 3 slides that are most important things in my presentation. This is one of 3. The first thing you got to do, I'm gonna put myself in your shoes. Let's assume you're all you're all juniors. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have a job at junior year than at senior year. That means senior is a whole lot more fun as a junior if I know I got a job that I'm going to go to. Senior is more fun if I got a job. If I don't have a job when I'm a senior, I got to be focusing on getting a job. Anyway, I'm going to put myself in your shoes. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, doesn't matter. Someone who's eventually wants to be employed or own the business, run the business. I'm going to put myself in your shoes, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this as a way to get people's attention. And the first thing I need to do is some homework. I need to understand who you are and what you do. Who you are and what you do. Who do you do it for? How you do it and why you do it. Look at those first 5 questions. Associate provost, did I get that right in the back? What does a provost do for a university? Runs it. I run the university.
No, that's what provost does.
So the provost, oh sorry, what does the associate provost do?
Helps.
Helps, there you go, thank you. Did you get that? Associate versus provost, helps. Can provost do it by himself or herself? Helps, you get the idea in there. So there's a potential for me to do, I'm making this up, I'm totally making this up, but there's an opportunity for me to do business with the university. And maybe I go in through the registrar's office, maybe I go in through the graphic communications department, maybe I go in through the provost department. But the thing is, I better know something about the organization. So I better know who they are, what they do, who they do it for, how they do it, and why they do it. The first 5 questions. I've coached people getting a job. I've coached people who do sales. I am amazed at how many people can't answer those 5 questions for most of the companies they call on or the companies they want to be employed by. If you can't answer those 5 questions, you then sound like the other 10 or 20 or 30 people who called or emailed me today, or the resumes I looked at that said, you know, hire me. And I get people that go, but Peter, they only have a web interface to put your resume up there. I said, yeah, do that, but write a letter to the president of the company that says, I'm doing those first 5 questions up there, and I've got some ideas. I'll hold back on the idea part, but at least you can say, I'm doing some research on it. Do you know most people don't do the first 5? Look at the 6th one. Where they're going? What do you mean? Is that a tab on their website where they're going? It thinks strategically. Where you are today, you guys are here physically in this room today. Strategically, where are you guys want to be in 5 years? That question is what every company asks themselves constantly. Many companies are afraid of it. They don't know what to do. They're not sure. Every one of them needs help going wherever they're going to go. You could be part of that. But man, a lot of people are like, but Peter, it's not on the website. I don't know what that answer is. You know what you can do? Make an assumption. Tell them you're making an assumption. I'm trying to figure out where you're going and share with them some ideas. By the way, number 7 is kind of important. You decide at that point, as you're doing your work on them, who they are, what they do, who they do it for, how they do it, why they do it, where they're going, where do you want to fit into what they're doing? Where do you want to fit? If I were selling education, I'd be looking for, you guys are here right now, but right now, the provost and the registrar are thinking about 5 years from now. We need more students. They're thinking about where's the future coming from? Where's the next set? Some of them, I said 5, I could go to 25. Some of them might be your children. I probably blew half your minds, so I'll hold back. I'll hold back on that. Yeah, sorry, I really shouldn't. You guys got enough to worry about. Let's move on. Let's move on. But think about that. I'm using the university because it's so close, it's right here, but just think about the companies you do business with. You know, if you understood more about who they were as a business, you could help them do what they do better. But here's the thing. Before you even call them, you got to do homework. A lot of people don't like to do homework. And I believe, and it's worth sharing, this is some really basic homework, and it doesn't take that long. I could do about 10 or 15 minutes worth of web research and maybe a couple phone calls and maybe an email or two, and I can have some pretty good answers to those first 6 questions. Based on whatever it is I want to try and do I want to work there? Do I want to start a competitive company? Do I want to sell for them? That's the 7th question. I can change it around, but do the homework and do the research. Are you with me so far? Do the homework's the first one. Here's the thing. You don't make the phone call. You don't contact them after you do this homework. Not yet. There's something else you can do. Here's what else you can do. So the first was 7 know-me concepts. Get to know who you want to call on. The next one is, what do I do with this output, this information? Take it and come up with some ideas. And you do that using these 6 reasons why someone might buy from you. I also put in there why someone might listen to you. Here's what it sounds like. If I do some research about, if I was sitting in your seat, tell me about a company, an industry of a company that you want to get a job for. We were talking about criminal justice. Baltimore Police Department is going to be looking for a detective in a few years. So if I'm calling, and I say a few years, you said sophomore, right?
Right.
Freshman and freshman. So you guys got a couple years. So I know in 3 years they're going to be looking. My friend Paul is going to be retiring in 2. So you can be contacting them by junior year. So just so you know that. But if I know there's a head of detectives and there's someone in HR at Baltimore Police Department, they're challenged with something. How do we keep really great detectives? How do we find new detectives who want to come and work for us? Well, they could go and look at a list of resumes online. They could go and put something out there. What they could also have is maybe somebody reached out to them and someone offered something far beyond, hey, can I work for you? They did some research, and if you could find ways of why, there's these, please know that these things that I'm sharing with you aren't supposed to be used all at once. You could use different ones. You tell me, would you guys, right now as students, would you want to do business with me if I could help you make money? Yes or no? It's your call. Someone might say no, I'm fine, but a couple more, I'll ask you one more time, be honest. If I could help you make money, would you want to do business with me?
Yeah.
Would you at least be interested in what I have to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about this? What if I can make you look good? What do you mean by look good? See, this means different things to different people. Maybe make you look good is your grades. Maybe make you look good is a raise. Maybe look good is, as a nonprofit, why would people give you money? I just came back from Houston. It's hard to find a hotel in Houston right now because they're all full of families who are waiting for their houses and funding down there. I mean, it's a challenge. So look good means different things to different people. But if you come up with ways to make me or make my organization, you'll notice there's kind of different versions of this. By the way, if I could save you guys money on your long distance bill, would you want to do business with me? Yes or no? I say long distance. You guys don't have that. On your mobile bill, would you do business with me? Yes or no? Would you at least hear? Why does he keep asking the wrong question first instead of the second? I should have said, would you want to hear about reasons why? But I already got you the first time when I said, if I could save you money. But here's the thing. What if I could come up with a way that could make you look good, that could make your life easier and save you money on your mobile? Would you be interested in that? You start to add these things. How does this apply to trying to get a job with the chief of detectives at the Baltimore Police Department? He's frustrated, or she, I don't know them personally, but they're frustrated trying to keep really good detectives and trying to find new ones. If you could come up with an idea or a way to make their life a little bit easier, maybe finding somebody. Maybe there's a new way that you guys are researching now, or you're freshmen, you're learning, but maybe there's a way, especially in Baltimore, which there's a really bad crime rate in Baltimore. Maybe a new idea, maybe you write a paper in your junior year about ways to manage city-based detective work. I'm making this up, but I'm not. And you then use that paper and you send it to them and say, hey, you might not be using this, or you might not be aware of this, but I could share this idea with you. I'm making you write the paper. Maybe that's asking too much. But how about this? What if you did research on other cities and what they've done to hire and keep successful detectives? You don't have to do the work yourself, like the actual writing of the paper, but you can do the research. What if you took that research and you handed that to the chief of detectives? Said, I'm sure you're really busy, and I'm going to be looking for a job from you, but here's what I've been researching to find out how to cut down on crime in major cities. Would you be interested in at least meeting with that person? You tell me if you were the chief of detectives. You could use different reasons why someone might listen to me. Some people are bored. No kidding. There's some people that just love a challenge. Challenge me because I'm bored. Some of you here today, like, show me something new. Tell me something I haven't heard yet. Challenge. Some people like a challenge. Other people want to, or organizations want to go beyond. I meet a lot of these really great organizations and people who work there who just want to go beyond where they are right now. I also meet a lot of people who are ready for this, who are this one. Please save me or save my organization. We're just about to go out of business. I meet these people all the time. I'm about to be let go. And I meet people all the time that because of two companies merged, someone potentially could be losing a job. My question to them always is, what are you doing right now to make yourself more valuable to the company you're employed by? And even better, what are you also doing to look around for other opportunities? You guys are up against that every day. As businesses change, other people are looking for work. People who weren't in university. But here's the thing. You guys are younger. You guys are fresher. You've got new knowledge, new ideas. Many of them are, and I say them, that's me sometimes, I've been doing the same thing I've always been doing, and I might not be interested in learning something new. There's a whole lot of people out there like that. And what's great is you can be better than that. You just do some homework and you apply some reasons why someone might listen to you. By the way, a reason why somebody might listen to you or buy from you, maybe it's a reason why somebody might hire you. Why I'm bringing this to you today is because I've worked with a lot of juniors and seniors in universities and high schools and graduate schools who often ask me, what should I do when I get out? And I say to them, you better be able to help the organization that you get hired by or the company that you start to make a difference. And make a difference means different things to people. Because you've got to set yourself apart from everyone else. So doing the homework and applying these 6 reasons why people buy could help you come up with 3 ideas. 3 ideas that you could share. I'm ready at any given moment, whether I'm meeting with the provost, the registrar, the dean of a college. She was just here a second ago. But a dean, it's like, I'm ready to go with some idea. By the way, I'm faking it right now. I didn't actually do this work. It wouldn't take me that long, but I could do the work. It wouldn't take that long, and I would actually be ready at any given moment with 3 ideas. Here's what's really cool. As I'm sharing these ideas, that person might go, I don't like that idea, I don't like that idea. All I have to ask them is, why don't you like the idea? If I ask them why they don't like the idea, what am I getting by them answering that question? Oh, I'm getting all sorts of feedback. I'm getting all sorts of feedback. No, we tried that already. We did this, we did that. And guess what? So I can come up with some other ideas. But what's interesting is you've set yourself apart by going, look, before you even knew me, I'm already doing things to try and help you as an individual, as a team, as an organization. My ideas might be off, but at least I took the time to do this. I'm hoping that I set myself apart from everybody else. And that's what this is. Help yourself grow, your team, your department, the organization at the same time. I want to show you guys one example of this process, 763. 7 know me concepts, do the homework, 6 reasons why someone might listen to you is to come up with a good message, and 3 ideas at any given moment. I'm going to give you an example. The University of Alabama has a team of people in marketing that has one particular job. Their job, fill the stadium every time there's a home football game. Like, that's their job. There's 4 people in that department. That's their job. It's a big stadium. It's like a 50,000 seat stadium. You have to fill every seat. Who do you sell tickets to? You guys tell me. Who do you sell tickets to? Who could they sell tickets to? Students. Who else? Parents, teachers. Who else? Alumni. Anybody else?
Locals.
Fans. Yeah, just fans. Just people who like the Tide. Yeah. Anybody else? Locals. You've got to consider, they might not be fans, but they're local. Hey, it's not that bad. Go with the locals. I like that too. Okay, you've identified a group of people. What do you say to them? What's that? For support. So if it's alumni, support. So different kinds of messages. I'm going to share with you something. The goal that the University of Alabama wanted to do is motivate seat license holders. So they had a very specific group of people. They went after, of all the people you guys told me, they went after one group. They went after, by the way, they went after all of them, but they went after this group in particular. I'm going to show this to you. They went after seat license holders. That's a fancy word for saying people who bought season tickets. So they went after season ticket holders. If we could motivate them to renew their licenses online, if we could simplify the handling of transactions to reduce associated costs, it's a long way to say, I mean, do you guys think when you like re-sign up for something or you re-up for something, if it's a really complex process, what do you do sometimes? I just cancel it, I walk away, I don't finish. But if I can simplify the process, and if I can generate additional revenue by offering products to online customers, do you see those 3 things up there? If I could come up with some ideas and reasons why, those 4 people might hire me. You ready? Here, I'm going to show you what they came up with. You ready? Here's what they came up with. They sent a postcard to all the season ticket holders. Here's the postcard. I'm going to blow it up for you. Your name right now is John Brown. It's John Brown Day. It's like, what is your real name? Hunter. Hunter, what's your last name? So it would say, it's Hunter Taylor Day at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Find out why at hunter.taylor@renewtidepride.com. I know it's a long URL. It's a personalized URL. But this is what he got in the mail, and it drives him online. If his name was John Brown, what looks a little weird on this postcard? Yeah, it's halftime, and the band is out right now. The band is out, it's halftime, and the whole band is shaped as John Brown, or it would say, Taylor, Brian Taylor? Hunter Taylor, it's close, it's close. It would say Hunter Taylor. Does that get your attention, yes or no? Yeah. Might you go, especially if you're a season ticket holder, might you go to that website to find out? Maybe you'll go and do the research on it. Yeah, you might. I'm going to show you guys what they did. 29% of the people who received their mailings went to their personalized URL. 29%. The average return rate on a direct mail piece, a piece you get in the mail, even today, what do you think those return rates are? How many people actually do something? It's lower than 5. It's lower than 3. It's somewhere around 2%. 29% went to the URL. Here's the thing. They also offered you ready for this? A poster. A poster framed of a cheerleader holding your name. So Bama loves Hunter. Like it's got your name on it. They offered it to you. It's $100. So it's $100. I apologize, not $100. $58. $58. Not only did people renew their seat licenses, but they also bought the posters. They sold 1,000 posters. They sold 1,000 posters. 1,000 posters generated $58,000 in revenue. Let me ask you this. There's those 4 people that are frustrated with their job trying to fill that stadium. They didn't come up with this idea. Some outside agency did, and they charged the university for this campaign, this idea. You could say they charged them. They made their lives easier. They made them look good. And all these reasons why they might buy from them. And here's the kicker of this whole thing. The campaign cost like $50,000. Guess what? The poster sales covered more than the campaign itself. Think about that. I'm not into basketball, but I showed this to somebody one time and they said, hey, can you have some time to sit down and tell me more about this? I said, sure. Does anybody know who Steve Kerr is? Who is he? He's the head coach of the Warriors now. He used to play for the Suns, I think, way back when. But when I met him, he was the general manager of the Phoenix Suns. He was sitting in the audience, and I talked about something like this, and he asked me at the end of the presentation, do you have a couple minutes to talk about this? I said, sure. We sat down. We used this campaign as the backdrop. And he said, my job as the GM is to fill my local hometown stadium in Phoenix every time the Suns play. I have to fill the stadium. Can we talk about how do you use this to do that? And we talked about and outlined a whole campaign. I wound up getting a local agency, the business, a company who did the mailing. We basically came up with a new idea. Here's what's really cool about what Steve and I talked about though. We put a spin on this. The spin that we put on this was when you take season ticket holders, one of the things you might want to do is to get them to pay an upcharge. Basically, upgrade your license. So what we did was, in the stadium, it's a roof stadium, what we did was we hired a photographer during a game to go around to different parts of the stadium and take pictures of a game being played. So he literally went around as a photographer and he took pictures during the game. What was really cool, when you guys got this mailing that said, please, would you be interested in renewing your season tickets at the Phoenix Suns Stadium? here's the view from your current seat. And you went on the website and clicked on it and you saw a view of the seat. Do you want to check out the view from some other sections? And you would sit there and scroll through and look at views from other sections. They wound up upselling and selling a whole lot more expensive seats this way. What did they do? They showed them something different. Think about that. I'm taking this simple thing, 7 know me concepts, 6 reasons why people buy, and 3 good ideas. And I'm trying to drive business and trying to help people. What do you learn about it? If you use this process you currently use to develop engaging ideas and content, today, so often people are talking about come up with new content that go on a website, that could be on a mobile URL. If you think like this, you could come up with so much new content that could be very differentiating. It could be something different that hasn't been seen. It can help you learn about customers and prospects or employers, changing relationships. You can learn about all sorts of different organizations. You could position yourself to work for a company that you've always wanted to work for, or even better, maybe from what you do through this process, you start your own company that does something similar, or does something better as you do that. Here's a potential thing you could do. Go try this with 3 people that you meet. Get to know who they are. I would say for you, potential employers. And if you're not a junior or senior, this is awesome. You should be practicing this as a freshman or sophomore. If you're a junior and senior, you should do this too. But go meet any potential employer. And I'd go one step further. How about a non-potential employer? Basically, anybody you're not really trying to get a job with. Practice with them. Why? You got nothing to lose. That's the big thing. Get to know who they are, what they do, who they do it for. Come up with some reasons why they might want to sit with you and potentially hire you. And bring them those 3 ideas. And share them with them. They might go, that's a crazy one, here's why. That one's kind of interesting. Let's find out more about that. This one, I don't know about that. Tell me why. And next thing you know, you've got a whole new level of information that you come back to them with. What's really cool is you guys just differentiated yourselves from everyone else who's been calling on them trying to get a job. Whether it's now, as a freshman or a sophomore, or it's soon as a junior or a senior, it definitely can help you with that. Any questions about anything I've shared so far? Any questions at all? Any questions? Sure. So, I told you I was a lifelong learner. The formula that I follow is this. I listen. I'm a really good listener. I love to listen. And as a result of it, I learn a ton. And then I go around and I share it with people, just like what I'm doing here today. And then I repeat it. Repeat the process. Keep listening, keep sharing, keep repeat the process. What's really wild, it can take you to incredible places. It brought me to here to you guys, and it's an honor to be here, to be part of what you're going through every day. And I gotta tell you, if you're a lifelong learner, you got opportunities. In fact, there's a quote from one of my, from this gentleman, Eric Hoffer, in the book, The True Believer. An associate of mine in the industry uses it. I love it. You ready for this? In times of change, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned, that's past tense, for those, it took me a minute to set in, learned. People actually call themselves, I've learned everything. Yeah, there's people out there that think they've learned everything. They will be prepared for a world that no longer exists. There are people in positions that you could go and get that think that they've learned everything. And I can tell you right now, if you're wired to learn, you'll have a job for life, or you could create your own company that does incredible things. By the way, you might screw things up when you do that, when you're working for somebody or you run your own company. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and see where it can take you. Based on what I shared with you today, it was a lot of stuff, but let me ask you guys, what's 3 things, what's one thing you could start doing that you weren't doing before you came in here today? What's one thing? Researching, thank you. What else? One thing you can start doing that you're not doing today?
Be more proactive.
Be more proactive. Instead of kind of waiting for a world to happen to me, I could go make a difference in the world. I put that part on the back end, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That to me, when I hear be proactive, I love those words. That's how I would put that in there. Thank you. What else? Something you could do that you're not doing, that you weren't, something you do now that you weren't doing before you came in. What else? Communicate. Take the time to communicate. There's 2 parts to that. There's the listening piece and then the sharing piece, and there's a great cycle to go along with that. Thank you. One more. Let's say again. Yeah, take in what I learned and share it with you. When you share it with someone, they go, that's a crazy idea. Or, hey, I never thought about that. Either one, you've learned something, and you could go back and work on it. Go back and do something. There's another person over here. Be humble. Don't assume you know everything. I'm 45 years old. I can tell you right now, I don't know everything. I don't. I kind of gave you an example of that when I told you, how dare I come in and tell you guys what to do? I can't. I don't know you that well. That's an example of being humble. Yeah. What's something you could stop doing? What's one thing you could stop doing based on something you learned here or heard here today? What's something you could stop doing? Procrastinating. The one thing I love about procrastinating, this young lady up in the corner, she's taking psych. She knows, because she's taking a psych class, and she's going after kids. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, she's child psychology. If you could learn early in life, now's a good time. Earlier is even better. But if you could learn, procrastination is simply a choice not to do something. And if you just were okay with that better, we wouldn't have to give it a label called procrastination. You could just go, I don't feel like doing that. Great, but what are you going to do then? What are you going to do to make a difference? So instead of doing this, it's like a quit but do something else. That's okay. But we usually just kind of sit there and talk about procrastinating. By the way, I'm not preaching here. I'm one of those guys too. I use it every day. I'm like, listen, I like Orange is the New Black. Women in Prison, well written, well filmed, good show. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's a good show. There's other shows that are on Netflix. Ozark is out right now. Like, wow, a bunch of crazy people. Jason Bateman. It's like, here's the thing. Do you watch one episode or do you watch like 8 in a row? Because when Orange is the New Black came out, I watched all of the new ones. It's so well written. The acting is through the roof. The acting in that show. But if you sit there and you watch all of it in a row, I'm procrastinating. There's something else if I'm watching it all in a row. Watching one, that's a treat, it's a reward. But watching it all in a row, by the way, that was my example. By the way, I just projected on all of you something that I stopped doing. I stopped binge watching streaming television. So that's yeah. Anyway, what's something you guys can celebrate that from what you heard here today? Something you can celebrate that you're doing right now. What do you got? You're taking risks. You're here. The fact that you're here and you're taking risks, celebrate that. A willingness to do that. Thank you. What else can you celebrate? Opportunities. Celebrate. You guys have a ton of opportunities. There's people like, oh gosh, I got loans when I get out of here. I got this. I got that. Yeah, but guess what? There's a whole lot of people who aren't here, who aren't learning, who aren't taking this time. They have much less opportunities than you do. You've got a huge opportunity in front of you. By the way, I'm going to tell you this. You're not going to like to hear this, but if I were to give you one life skill lesson in addition to what I've shared with you, please save. That's all I'm going to ask. Please save. It's very hard to do when I was young. Save. But if somebody told me earlier to save earlier, boy, it'd make a difference later in my life. I'm going to use shoes as an example. Maybe if I didn't buy those shoes, maybe if I didn't buy that motorcycle, maybe if I didn't do this, and I saved a little more then, I wouldn't have to work as long as I need to at the back end. That's my opinion, though. I'm just putting that out there. So save too. Throw that in there. Any other questions? Any questions or comments about anything I've shared with you so far? Anything at all? I made you guys think today. I also made you consider making a change. Unless you actually do something, it won't kind of sink in. So I'd ask you, if nothing else, something that you could do is that you could send Mr. Brennan a note, get a copy of these notes, and go through them. Oh, I like that. Sneeze. God bless you, by the way. That's nice. But if there's something you could do just to follow up on this, if nothing else, just pull out those 763 pages. Use them for yourself. You can really value them. If you don't have a pen, didn't write it down or something, just you can see Mr. Brennan. He'll get you a copy of that. One last thing. I showed you guys that all those different channels that you can use to communicate with. Well, guess what? I got a preferred channel. My personal preferred channel is this one. I love face-to-face. It's my preferred channel. It's the way I'd love to be. But maybe, I don't know, I'm not always having the chance to get here or to meet with people. You'll notice an acceptable channel is my cell phone. That's my cell. If you guys, anything I said here today or any just kind of, you want to ask me a question, I'm totally fine with you guys reaching out to me. I'm fine with that. If you abuse it, I ain't got the power to turn that off. That's okay. But if I can help you with just answering a question, can you tell me a little more about that? It takes courage to stand up there and tell people, join my club. Not mine, but join the club. That's pretty cool. And he jumped in. Like, I mean, from a marketing perspective, take advantage when you can. Well done. Like, take the advantages you can. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with that. You'll notice last resort, don't bother. Don't email me. Don't even write the email down. Don't bother. Tom, am I pretty good about getting back to that, Mr. Brennan? No, I'm not very good about that. No. I'm being honest with you. But guess what? You guys all have preferences as well about what channels you like to prefer to communicate in. But let me ask you this one. Are you aware of the channels that the people you want to work for, the way they like to communicate in? Because you might like a certain channel, they may not. Get to know what other people's channels are, and you can communicate more effectively. On behalf of the Graphic Communications Department and myself, I just want to say thank you guys very much for coming out today. Thank you.